which means that any organism with sufficient mass and cognitive capability is a potential vector. Is something wrong?
No, nothing.
Splendid, shall we? Unfortunately, my usefulness to this particular endeavor has come to an end. Protocol does not allow units with my classification to perform a task as important as the reunification of the index with the core. That final step is reserved for you, Reclaimer. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Oh, really?
Cortana.
I've spent the last 12 hours cooped up in here watching you toady about, helping that thing get set to slit our throats.
Hold on now. He's a friend.
Oh, I didn't realize. He's your pal, is he? Your chum? Do you have any idea what that bastard almost made you do?
Yes. Activate Halo's defenses and destroy the Flood, which is why we brought the index to the control center.
You mean this?
A construct in the core? That is absolutely unacceptable.
Sod off!
What impertinence! I shall purge you at once!
You sure that's a good idea?
How dare you? I'll...
Do what? I have the index. You can just float and sputter.
Enough! The Flood is spreading. If we activate Halo's defenses, we can wipe them out.
You have no idea how this ring works, do you? Why the Forerunners built it? Halo doesn't kill Flood. It kills their food. Humans, Covenant, whatever. We're all equally edible. The only way to stop the Flood is to starve them to death. And that's exactly what Halo is designed to do. Wipe the galaxy clean of all sentient life. You don't believe me? Ask him.
Is it true?
More or less. Technically, this installation's pulse has a maximum effective radius of 25,000 light years. But once the others follow suit, this galaxy will be quite devoid of life. Or at least any life with sufficient biomass to sustain the Flood. But you already knew that. I mean, how couldn't you?
Left out that little detail, did he?
We have followed outbreak containment procedure to the letter. You were with me each step of the way as we managed this crisis.
Chief, I'm picking up movement.
Why would you hesitate to do what you've already done?
We need to go. Right now.
Last time you asked me, if it were my choice, would I do it? Having had considerable time to ponder your query, my answer has not changed. There is no choice. We must activate the ring.
Get us out of here.
If you are unwilling to help, I will simply find another. Still, I must have the index. Give your construct to me, or I will be forced to take her from you.
That's not going to happen.
So be it. Save his head. Dispose of the rest.
Look out!
Kind of a bit of a cheap way to start out the mission. Although, by comparison, there's a bit like that in Halo 2 that's way worse. But here you have plenty of time to duck into cover, although your shields do take an initial beating. Oh, by the way, new enemy type, Sentinels. Luckily, you start this level with usable weapons, unlike the assault rifle.
We can't let the Monitor activate Halo. We have to stop him. We have to destroy Halo. According to my analysis of the available data, I believe the best course of action is somewhat risky. An explosion of sufficient size will help destabilize the ring, and will cut through a number of primary systems. We need to trigger a detonation on a large scale, however. A starship's fusion reactors going critical would do the job.
I just wanted to show off the control room since we didn't
I'm
really
going
get
to
a chance
search
to
what's
look
left
at
of the
it.
Covenant BattleNet and see if I can locate the Pillar of Autumn's crash site. If the ship's fusion reactors are still relatively intact, we can use them to destroy Halo.
Alright, so this next shootout is one of the toughest in the mission right out the gate. Yeah, Covenant. It's been a while, hasn't it? But, yeah, basically, it's a three-way battle between you, the Covenant, and the Sentinels, you know, because, as Guilty Spark was saying in the last mission, the Forerunner constructs view the Covenant as intruders, so they're hostile to them as well. So you get cool multi-faction battles. But sadly, the Sentinels are more janitors. They're not really known for large-scale combat engagements. So the Covenant will pretty much always win this initial shootout. So what you want to do first, you want to try and thin out the grunts. That way the Sentinels can focus on the elites and deplete their shields as much as possible. Don't worry about your health too much, just get through it. This next shootout is also really difficult. You can hear Covenant through the door. Now, the only way I've found to make this consistent, it's a little cheesy, but throw 2 plasma grenades right there. That'll kill the elites. And then do whatever you need to do to mop up the rest of the infantry. It's a little cheesy, but there's just so little cover in this part, and you can't have like a squad of Covenant plus 2 elites all firing at you. You just die too fast. I'm not saying you have to do it.
We haven't located the crash site yet, but we need to buy some time in case the Monitor or his Sentinels find a way to activate Halo's final weapon without the Index. The machinery in these canyons are Halo's primary firing mechanisms. They consist of 3 phase pulse generators that amplify Halo's signal and allow it to fire deep into space. The power levels are enormous. I can't even begin to calculate the pulse's range. So, if we damage or destroy these generators, the Monitor will need to repair them before Halo can be used. That should buy us some time. I'm marking the location of the nearest pulse generator with a nav point. We need to move in and neutralize the device.
As you can see, the shotgun tears through Covenant almost as effectively as it does Flood. Just a goated weapon all around. So what I'm doing here, I'm kind of clearing out this initial area of Covenant. You'll see why in just a moment. These elevated platforms are definitely good vantage point, that's for sure. If you can somehow get the drop on them, they're really good places to stick elites, like with plasma grenades. That little wiggle motion is a good way to take out elites with the shotgun. And as you can see, the shotgun has really deceptively big range. It's a lot, you know, you're used to video game shotguns being really shitty anywhere except point blank. Not the case with Halo 1. Okay, so, like I was saying, don't worry about your health in this part too much, just survive, because if you remember, so I was originally going to cut this part out, but then I saw that weird graphical glitch, and I figured I was close enough to the RAM. So you might remember an assault on the control room. By the way, we're back in that area. This level reuses a lot, but I don't really mind because the scenery is different, and the level itself plays a lot differently. You'll see what I mean. Good example of that, if you recall, up here in Assault on the Control Room, there was nothing up here, but here, there's health and ammo stash. Not only that, but there is a sniper rifle up here. Also the Halo 1 pistol, but I prefer to keep the shotgun just for this little bit. Now, I make a cut here just because nothing happens on the way back. So now we're back to where we were. I thought there might be some elites to stick down there, but not on that side. Yeah, but there is one on this side. And well, I took a big risk, but listen. Yep, I actually got I somehow got the stick there. Now I'm trying to. I'm being a little stupid here. I'm trying to conserve sniper ammo, but I don't really have a good way of taking out elites at long range until I kill that jackal. Probably should have used the sniper, but I make it work because now I throw a stick, not to stick him, but just to get him to back up so I can grab that plasma pistol, stun him, finish him off with a shotgun. Now this is the level where I use weapon juggling for the first time in any serious capacity. Something to mention, so obviously this is an old game, so one trick that they found, they actually despawn weapons once they're far enough away from the player to save on memory, but if you pick the weapon up off the ground, the game, like, force keeps it. It won't despawn it. So if there's ever a situation where you want to have 3 weapons, you can just pick up the weapon that you want off the ground. It'll be there when you get back. This doesn't apply to guns and, like, ammo caches and stuff. So, like, even if I went a million miles away, that pistol will still be there. That's going to be important for later. So I'm juggling my sniper rifle and the plasma pistol, just so I'm not caught in another situation with that, like with that red elite, like I was back up there. Something weird happens here after I throw this plasma. Not sure what caused that. Made this part easier, that's for sure. What is bro doing? Nah. Yeah, that guy freaked out or something. I mean, with a plasma pistol and a shotgun, that part's pretty easy, but, you know. So, just pointing out, there's a lot of unmanned Covenant vehicles up there. Now, right here, if you're playing yourself, get your sniper out right now.
Wait, we should commandeer
You
one of
can
those
kill.
vehicles. We'll need it to reach the pulse generator in time.
I just wanted to demonstrate that you can kill and snipe that elite getting into the tank, and then you won't have to deal with the Wraith tank in this part if you're fast enough. I felt that was a little cheesy, so I just wanted to demonstrate that you could do it. And here I do something kind of stupid. I charge straight into Covenant squad, but there is a health pack literally right there, so it's not a big deal. And a rocket launcher. This is another really hard shootout. Not gonna lie to you. Yeah, they put a bunch of really hard fights right at the beginning of the mission. I mean, look, there's the elite on the other side. It's like 3 regular elites, and then there's a plasma rifle zealot. Yeah. Plasma rifle zealots suddenly become a lot more common in Assault. It's like, even on Legendary, there's only the one on Assault on the Control Room. Now they throw a bunch of them at you. I don't know what that pause was for, but not a big deal. Just trying to thin the elites out before I go charging into the zealot. You really want to take out that blue, or maybe it's... You really want to take out the elite on the right side, because he will come over, be a nuisance if you don't. That goes for if you're trying to take out the zealot, or if you're trying to take out the elite. Just like that. Now, if you're taking out the Wraith, you want to stand around here. The architecture will kind of block his shots. Makes it pretty easy. There's people shooting at me, but it's just a couple grunts, so no big deal. Good. And that's that part clear, with full health too. Pretty cool.
Good. Let's get moving. The nav point marks our target.
Now, I'm just demonstrating Banshee. Didn't really get a chance to show it off in Assault on the Control Room. This is the first level where you really have to use the Banshee. You can fly up to these platforms that you saw on Assault on the Control Room. Covenant squad comes out that door, but in a Banshee they're no big deal. Although I was being a little cautious because, as always, grunts can throw plasma grenades. I knew there was one alive. Yep. Careful when you're landing your Banshee, because if it falls on you, it can just kill you. It's kind of funny, actually. Now, before you go in, you'll want to replace the rocket launcher with some kind of plasma weapon. I only saw a rifle nearby, so I guess this gets to be the rifle's chance to shine. That is because guarding the pulse generator, well, nothing.
That's the pulse generator. The center core is the signal amplifier. That's what we need to shut down. We need to interrupt the pulse generator's energy stream. I've adjusted your shield system so that it will deliver an EMP burst to disrupt the generator, but you'll need to walk into the beam to trigger it. The EMP blast should neutralize the generator, but it will also drain your shields and leave you vulnerable until they recharge.
Alright, so when you're ready, you want to stand overloaded, but from the entrance...
Objective accomplished. The pulse generator has overloaded...
Bunch of sentinels.
The generator's central core is offline. Well done.
Now, obviously, if you know the sentinels are coming, you'd want to book it in the opposite direction, but I felt that was a little... You know, like Master Chief wouldn't know the sentinels are coming. The smart thing to do would be to book it to the exit. But yeah, that part can be dangerous. Still, you know, even if you're caught completely by surprise, you can... what's the word? You can improvise, you can adapt. Although, being at low health for this next part kind of sucks. I don't think there's a health pack I'm missing either, although feel free to let me know. But luckily, like I was saying about picking up weapons, rocket launchers right
in the
there.
adjacent canyon. Move out, and I'll mark the target with a nav point when we get closer.
Just pointing out that the Banshee Fairy left a new Banshee for us, I suppose. I guess so you don't soft lock yourself, because you need to use the Banshee for this next part. So, a squad of Covenant comes out from each door on the bridge. And you might notice the Grunts are wielding a new weapon. That's the fuel rod cannon. It's the Covenant equivalent of the rocket launcher. Sadly, you can't use it in this game. Whenever an enemy wielding the fuel rod dies, the fuel rod just explodes. And that explosion can kill you. And it's probably the biggest explosion. Yeah. I left that death in because it was funny. But nah, this part's pretty easy. Just, I guess I would say, remember that you're in a flying Banshee. One thing I do real quick, I decided to do it now just to show it off. Basically, if you can kind of fly the Banshee, well, you can. I have some trouble fly the Banshee up to the cache, whatever you want to call it. Now, this is going to be shocking. I'm actually going to trade out the shotgun for the pistol. I know, crazy. But trust me, I think it's definitely worth it. Anyway, back to the footage. I guess I would just say, remember that you're in a flying vehicle, so you want to do like these bombing runs where you fly really high up into the air. Nothing the enemies can really do as you rain hell down on them, I guess you could say. Yeah, even the elites are pretty helpless when you do this. I kind of forget my own advice and almost die. But luckily, I clutched it out.
Head through that door. That's the way to the next canyon.
Thank you, Crouton. Now, kind of a funny thing. In Assault on the Control Room, the arrows were pointing forward, but now the way to go is the arrows that are pointing backwards. So, here's another tough shootout something. Okay, so this grunt, he drops a plasma pistol, but I shot him in such a way that the plasma pistol clipped through the wall. So you can see me kind of like bumbling around confused, like, needless to say, without I kind of die. Not to say you can't adapt or overcome. I didn't in that instance. And this room's really long, so I didn't want to make you watch it. So I'll just cut ahead to my successful attempt. I did only die the one time, to be fair to myself. I would never be dishonest about my number of deaths. Viewer. Yeah, so you probably see why not using the shotgun, not really any flood here, just a bunch of Covenant. And as always, the noob combo, which is 2 pistols, that's always going to be superior to the shotgun. Against Covenant, at least. This level has a lot of red elites being kind of stupid. And again, I missed that shot. That guy could have charged forward and punished me, but he really wanted to hide in the corner. So, yeah, I let him. As I explained in Assault on the Control Room, I like to look through those gaps because sometimes there's enemies you can get free pot shots on the other side. Now I'm saving this rocket launcher for something specific. You'll see what that is. Missed that stick. How embarrassing. This is the part where I died, sort of. Well, I almost died here on the failed attempt, so being maybe overly cautious. But once I kill one of the elites, I know I get the stick back then. Oh, incidentally, if you are somebody who actually cares about the 343 slop terminals, slop lore terminals, the one in this level is really easy to find. It's literally like right behind the control room control panel, right at the start of the level. You can just go around and grab it. Probably one of the easiest to find. Oh, that's a silly glitch that can happen. It happens even in the original game. Like weapons can get stuck in walls, and then they make that noise because they're like rotating infinitely. So I touch the plasma pistol just so it doesn't despawn, and also to stop that noise. It's always nice when you can get those headshots off on the yellow jackals. Touch that plasma pistol just because it's a little bit closer. And then this is where I died on the failed attempt. This part actually isn't so bad, though. I was just fucking up. I throw a grenade just to kind of keep the elites suppressed so I can headshot all the grunts without them also firing at me. And the jackal, too, of course. And then the elites kind of charge forward and they hide in the little tunnel. I like to use the rocket here, just to kill one of them. Not that you have to, it's just I find, me personally, I find trying to fight 2 elites at the same time in tight quarters scary. But if you want to be more conservative with your rocket ammo, go right ahead. But, the rocket's just a fun weapon. So when I said that we weren't going to be fighting Flood, I didn't mean for the whole mission, yeah. And as you can hear, the Flood and the Covenant are kind of, they're fighting it out. So, I'm doing really well here, getting all these sticks, but sadly... Oh, also there's a bunch of health packs. So believe it or not, it's actually not the Zealot that winds up killing me. It's all these jackals that come. They kind of pin me down, and I don't really. I throw a bunch of grenades, but I don't really deal with them, get them unstuck. At this point, it's kind of delaying me a little. just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Okay. But alright, let's do that correctly this time. Sort of. Man, the multi-faction battles in this game are so cool. It's something that I've never really seen another FPS replicate. Even other Halo games, I think, don't do as good a job as this one. And that's what I say the rocket launcher for. Now, the way the Jackals and the Zealot work is they come around the corner once you kill that first squad of Covenant. There's supposed to be reinforcements to help stop the flood, but obviously, as you've seen, the Covenant usually almost die there, but I get the clutch stick. This time, I'm a bit more liberal about making sure the Jackals can't occupy that spot. I even use a rocket, just to make sure. And also, I did a better job of thinning out their numbers initially. And yeah, that's why I told you not to worry about the shotgun, because there's a free shotgun with 36 shells just kind of lying there. It's kind of weird melee animation with the shotgun, but hey, you know, it's pretty fast at least. Now, I play this next part in a very weird way, I'll admit. Very weird. That's because I'm trying to force a specific outcome, basically. You can call this cheesy, maybe, but basically something happens when there's only 2 Covenant left standing alive. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to kill as many of the grunts as possible, while leaving the 2 elites alive. That might seem backwards, but you'll see. Sadly, one of the elites got killed earlier, so there's only the 1 red elite left alive. So I kind of have to make a choice, and I decide to kill the Jackal instead. But to do that, I kind of have to go around, sneak up on them. Don't want to shatter that glass, because it'll alert them to where I am. And as you can hear from that noise, yeah, what happens is when there's only 2 Covenant left alive, the flood reinforcements show up and start fighting the Covenant. So ideally, what you want is you want to leave the 2 elites alive because they have the best chance of, fighting against the flood. Somehow, the 1 red elite actually managed to survive. I almost felt a little bad killing him afterwards. This dude's a badass. Alright, I make a weird cut here because the game actually crashed. I have that footage at the end of the episode. Let me just say I was very mad. But yeah, that was the game crashing. I had to kind of replay this part. It's a shame because I got some really cool sticks, but I do have that footage at the end of the episode. It's kind of bonus. Alright, so here, yeah, you have a bunch of flood on one bridge and a bunch of Covenant on the other, shooting each other. The flood are kind of a non-factor, at least for this part. But the Covenant bridge, meanwhile, has a ton of elites, including a sword zealot. The flood at least keep them busy, I guess, and you do want to shoot them if they start shooting at you. But yeah, in this particular battle, the Covenant are the main threat. Although that's not always the case. And as usual, don't be afraid to actually hit your overcharges, but don't be afraid to swap out weapons mid-battle. Eventually, when enough of the Covenant die, the Flood will jump across the bridge to fight you, actually. But The flood on this particular bridge aren't really that threatening. Yeah, they just have like plasma weapons. There is a second wave, so that's what I'm being a little cautious of. Although probably overly cautious because again they just have plasma weapons. It's not a big deal. All right. Just cracking open my gamer juice, which is water. Bottled water. Alright, now this room is brutal, but what I get a little unlucky here. That'll sound like cope, but basically a big group of flood charges down the middle, so you throw a frag grenade, but then two more groups are supposed to come from the left and right, but they're just not coming this time. I was very confused. I was like, well, maybe if I alert the infection forms? Because obviously, right by the doorway you can go hiding is the best position to be in. I even broke a window, nothing happens. So I figure maybe I'm thinking of a different room, or maybe like the spawn triggers are messed up or something. Very confused. I decided to just head up the middle. This is where there's some flood hiding up here. But the moment I fire a gun, suddenly all the flood come charging from both the left and the right. Yeah, I'm not prepared at all, so I just die. It's like, yeah, yeah, so I got kind of unfortunate there. But this time I decide to just try and do whatever I can to alert them. Yeah, try and get those shotguns blown towards you, because that's a lot of shotgun ammo. That's another reason I said, yeah, so there I fired my gun to alert them all, and I retreat when they start getting overwhelming, I just retreat back in the hallway. Pretty easy. Once you know how to handle it. Call this corner camping, I guess. But yeah, that's why I said don't really worry about abandoning the shotgun, because there's a bunch of shotgun ammo in this room immediately after you get the other shotgun. And then up here, well, there's some flood across there, but up in that little fort, on Assault on the Control Room, there was nothing really up here. Well, there was an ammo cache up one of them. But here, there is an army of flood, but they all have shotguns and pistols. So if you need ammo, you go out. Obviously, they're coming out here just killing it from combat forms. Because as you can see, you can camp the stairway pretty easy. You get a bunch of ammo for your good weapons up here. Yeah. 62 shells. Now, those guys all have shotguns, so I'm being a little careful. I mean, you've seen how fast shotgun flood can kill you. Luckily, I get that stick. That helps me out. Now, you hear that elite cry. When you hear that, it means that the flood and elite groups in the hallway ahead have started engaging each other. Now, here, usually the flood are the more threatening faction, and usually they win. Yeah, because as you just heard, there's a rocket launcher flood there. He usually makes short work of the Covenant. But, yeah, this is one you really want to let them fight out, because sometimes a rocket will just fly and hit that back wall and kill you. You try and advance too quickly. But yeah, somehow, a single blue elite was the only survivor of that battle, and I check around, like, I couldn't believe it. Usually that never happens, but yeah, sure enough, dead rocket flood right there. And I pick up the rocket launcher just so it doesn't despawn, because I'm going to need it later. For now, you know, classic shoddy Magnum combo to deal with the flood here. Kind of a dumb thing I did, I forgot, yeah, how the carrier forms work, so the rocket launcher ended up getting flung far into the other room, I could have lost it, or it could have wound up stuck in the wall. But luckily it ended up working out. This was me looking for the rocket launcher, just for the record. But yeah, luckily it ended up right there. But you can see how, like, in the heat of battle, I might have lost that completely. So, I'm being a little overly cautious because I'm thinking that this room is a different room later on. I'm getting this room confused with another room that is as dangerous as I'm thinking, but this room's pretty not so bad. Assuming you don't stand right in the path of an assault rifle fire like I was doing. You know, if you don't do that, the game gets a lot easier. Yeah. So there's a big explosion that happens, and you think you're going to be overwhelmed with flow, but it's just a bunch of infection for it. There's nothing to worry about, really. You know, just spoilers, there's another room in this level where it is all combat rooms, and it is dangerous. Probably for obvious reasons, I kind of forgot that this room existed. I guess this is as close to a filler room as you can get in Halo Combat Evolved. I guess this is a good time to talk. So people don't like this level. You know, a lot of people think it's kind of lazy. You just do an assault on the control room, except backwards, and it's nighttime. I could see the point, you know, assuming that you're playing this game like all in one sitting, doing assault on the control room, and then playing it a second time, because this is an hour-long level, and assault on the control room is also an hour, so it can get pretty exhausting. Oh, these guys have shotguns, so they are a little dangerous. Nothing too bad, though. I can see the argument. I feel like the Flood and the multi-faction battles and just how much more difficult this level is than Assault on the Control Room do a lot to mix things up. But I can definitely understand not liking it. Feeling it's a bit repetitive, perhaps. Now, I have no idea what I would... So here, I was kind of like thinking while moving, if that makes sense. I was trying to decide what my strategy was going to be going forward. As you can tell, I'm kind of... This is what I consider this to be the most difficult level in the game. So I'm kind of tryharding a little bit. So I'm hemming and hawing a lot. But eventually I decide on my course of action... Oh, by the way, there's a huge cloud. There's just a huge group of infection forms through that door. So be a little careful if you're low on health or something. Eventually I decide to just take the shotgun and the rocket launcher, and I figure I can just come back for the pistol if I need it. The reason why is because there's some banshees out here. 2 banshees. To be precise. As Guilty Spark would say. Now, the way to deal with banshees, they're pretty easy to deal with. All you gotta do, wait for them to start shooting at you, and then stand perfectly still. You'll hit them every time. If you duck into cover, they'll veer out of the way of the rocket, but they prioritize damaging you over their own life. This bridge is also a little dangerous because there is a rocket flood on the bridge, but I think the banshees killed him at some point, because I don't think I encounter him. That's always lucky when that happens, so. I did lose a bit of health, but honestly worth it if it means taking out the banshee. I throw the grenade to kind of draw the combat forms out so I can kill them, so they're not bothering me. But then I see that the banshees decided to focus on the flood, so I decided to push up a little bit. At this point, I'm pretty sure that the rocket flood is dead, so I'm a lot less reserved, I guess you could say. So again, this is a trick that some people don't know. You just you wait for them to start firing at you. You aim right for their center, fire the rocket, don't move into cover. You can still move around, just don't move into cover. And you're good. I fired that rocket just in case. There is more than one rocket flood. It's just the one in this initial group I'm pretty sure got killed by the banshees. And I get a little lucky here, video-wise. I mean, I still have that pistol in reserve, but there's one right on the bridge, so that makes it easier to record. So just in case any of those up there are rocket flight, I can kill them from a distance. And turns out I was right to do so. By the way, if you are fighting a rocket flood, the big partitions in the middle of the bridge, they make good cover, but don't stand right next to them because the splash damage can still bleed through it and kill you pretty easily. I'm just letting the pretty music play. Sometimes you can get a big popping chain reaction and just like pop them all. But not this time. This is the room that I was thinking of, where the explosion means a bunch of combat forms and carrier forms show up. It's definitely a room you want to be careful in. Watch your motion tracker, make sure you're not getting surrounded. Careful of the carrier forms. And then there's a bunch of flood camping exits, so you want to be careful of that. This is one of those rooms where you get punished for just running right through it. There's a bunch of flood come in. And they have shotguns. Yeah. And that right there is why you don't want to use plasma grenades on infection forms. That, like, literally that exact reason I almost died. The scenery might be looking a bit familiar. About to come to one of the elevator rooms. Obviously, this level has the pulse generators to mark progress, so I don't really keep track of the elevators. This was always a striking visual to me, just the flood pouring down the elevator shaft. I'd love to know what people think, though, like, genuinely. Like, do you feel like... do you feel like this level mixes things up enough to not be repetitive, or do you get bored playing it? I feel like this is the hardest level in the game, in my opinion, but I feel like it's a good kind of difficulty. Speaking of difficulty, this room is kind of a weird breather room. All that's in here are a bunch of human combat forms, but none of them have weapons. They're all unarmed. Just like at the beginning of 343 Guilty Spark, while the floater. People think that there's like a lore reason for this room. Like I've heard people say, this is what happens to Fire Team Zulu. Like this is the remains of Fire Team Zulu, but you know, that's just a fan theory. That's just a theory. Certainly fun to think in a creepypasta sort of way, I suppose. But yeah, kind of a short breather room. And we're outside.
Okay, let's take care of the next one.
What was that, Court? I didn't hear you. No, there is a Banshee out here, so you want to take out that elite as soon as possible. I kind of fuck up running into cover there and use a bar of help. But that's okay, because there's a health pack really close by. More detrimentally, I accidentally get the Wraith's attention. There's another Wraith out here. Wraith and a Banshee. There's also a Ghost that I forget about, but it's over to the right. Once again, Banshee method always. But luckily that rocket that I fired at the Ghost, it flipped it over, so I don't have to waste time flipping it over. I can just get in right away. Now, this elite, in the Ghost, he honestly had me dead to rights. He could have killed me, but he kind of fucked it out. He fumbled it. He fumbled his W. Yeah, elites and ghosts, they lose like 20 IQ points. Anyway, you know, remember down here this was a completely worthless area that would just get you killed. Now there's a bunch of health and ammo, including shotgun and rocket ammo, so definitely worth coming down here. Oh, show. even more importantly, there's a full health ghost you can get into if your other one had a bunch of damage. Now, this is kind of a difficult firefight to fight out legitimately, so you might, I don't know how you'll feel about this, but I'm just going to skip it. I'm just going to fly right past it. On the ghost. Be careful though, you do want to stop before going into the entrance. I kind of stopped unintentionally because the Wraith always lobs a mortar right at the entrance because he knows where you're going. But then once you get the ghost through, it makes these next few shootouts a lot easier. Just having the ghost. Here's a warthog if you want it. Some dead Marines around it. Although, spoilers, there are no living Marines in this level. So I'd rather be able to shoot, drive and shoot at the same time, I should say. There's a squad of grunts with needlers up here, but in the ghost they're pretty harmless. They can't really do much to you. Now, this shootout can be really difficult. There's 2 Banshees, and on the right there's 2 Hunters. Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen these guys. And it might... So first things first, take out the Banshee. There's another hidden health pack around here, so I wouldn't worry about health. And you might be, worried, like, oh, you don't have a pistol, but the shotgun tears through Hunters pretty easily, too. Yeah, Hunters just aren't very threatening at all. And, even if you don't, even if you don't have a precision weapon, shotguns... I mean, the shotgun is the best weapon in the game, so maybe that's a little unfair still. Oh well. That's actually the only pair of Hunters in the mission that I'll be fighting. There is another pair later on, but I skip over them. I'm trying to like get there's a Banshee flying overhead. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there it is. Trying to get its attention so I can shoot it out of the sky. Yeah, I hope you don't mind me skipping certain encounters. I just, obviously I don't want to just fly through the level, but I feel like it adds a little bit of spice to every once in a while just skip past and not like get into a drawn out shoot. It's more in character for Master Chief, I suppose. Now, here you have 3 elites backed up by a Wraith and a Shade Turret and a squad of birds. So, very difficult fight on foot becomes trivially easy if you get the ghost. Careful of the Wraith. It's a little tedious, but I definitely recommend taking the time to kill all the grunts that man the Shade Turret, because as you can see to the left, there's some unmanned Banshees, so we're going to use those to get to the second pulse generator, and you really don't want to be losing health. I would recommend killing this Wraith for later. Also, I thought it would be cool to just show off using a Banshee. Usually, we just use the Banshees for transport, so I thought it would be cool to kind of get into the Don't forget that if your Banshee's low on health, there is a second one down there. So, something to keep in mind. And hey, it's playing the music from the intro. All I want to know, Cortana, is did we lose them? Oh, if you try and go in that tunnel, Cortana will just yell at you and be like, "Hey, there's a pulse generator, remember?" And there's a door that you need to open with a switch, and the switch just won't work until real quick though, I did want to swing by here because if you remember. In Assault on the Control Room, this area was just kind of a death trap that just had a useless active camo in it. And here, in this level, there's a health pack. And also some weird corpses. I'm sure there's a story there. Now, I'm gonna kind of skip another firefight here. Skip's kind of the wrong word, because it's like there's really no reason to fight it. I will say there's some banshees flying around once you get higher up. So if you attract their attention, you might want to take some time to shoot them down. But here I'm just picking out the grunt with the fuel rod, killing them. Seeing if I can kill anybody else when my banshee gets low on health. I make a beeline for the pulse generator because there's a squad of Covenant guarding it, including a grunt with a fuel rod. Almost die, but luckily I clutch it out. That elite surprised me. I wondered what happened. Now, you don't have to do this necessarily. I figure it'll make my exit easier if I take out these shade turrets. But yeah, when I say skip, I mean I don't really fight the Covenant on that central platform because there's kind of no reason to. Just make sure you take out the shade turrets and the grunt with the fuel rod because, yeah, it's just kind of difficult for no real gain. Like I kind of wait to show it off. There's I use a weapon with a There's an elite zealot. There's a plasma rifle zealot over there backed up by a bunch of elites. And there's some banshees flying around. There's just no reason to engage with that. By the way, before you go in here, get some kind of plasma weapon, ideally a pistol, but if you have to use a rifle, use a rifle. So there's supposed to be some sentinels in here, but they didn't spawn for whatever reason, so I kind of get overwhelmed and fucked by the flood. So once again, a death that kind of wasn't my fault, because I got, just like weird RNG. And I was holding out pretty well, but then eventually, well, the rocket flood. And now you get to see why I'm always so cautious around the rocket flood. Like, he didn't even hit me with that, but I got killed by the splash damage. And this time, the sentinels spawn. I'm not sure why they didn't before. So, you just want the plasma weapon to deal with the sentinels if, like, you accidentally attract their attention. Usually the flood, but not always. Obviously, I'm being overly cautious here because I don't want to die to the rocket launcher thing again. But, as it turns out, either the sentinels killed him this time, or one of my grenades killed him, because he doesn't show up, and I find his corpse later. Well, be careful of the shotgun, guys, as always. Alright, remember, when you overload the pulse generator, your shield goes down, so when you're ready. One thing I would recommend, though, there's a bunch of infection forms back here just waiting. So I'd recommend, it's a little tedious, but take some time to go back here and clear them out, because, otherwise you'll... Remember, every time one of those jumps on you, that's a bar of health gone, so something to be aware of. I accidentally stand in the wrong spot, you gotta really...
That did it. The pulse generator overloaded. One more to go.
So here, just use whatever you have to survive. Rockets, grenades, whatever. It's an army of flood preventing you from leaving. Do whatever you gotta do. One thing I do like about these later levels is I can be a lot freer with my grenades, Because you basically don't get any frag grenades at some parts in the first 5 levels. Now, there is, there was a rocket, there was some rocket flood in that group, so that's why it's important to grenade spam, because I got both of them. And, I'm just looking for, at this point I'm just looking for the last, I'm looking for any ammo, I'm scavenging around any grenades. I have no idea what I was doing here. Like, why would I take a plasma pistol over a rocket. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing there, to be honest. Oh, and once again, the Banshee Fairy. Grant your wish, and there's a fresh Banshee.
I've located the Pillar of Autumn. She put down 1,200 kilometers upspin. Energy readings show her fusion reactors are still powered up. The systems on the Pillar of Autumn have fail-safes even I can't override without authorization from the captain. We'll need to find him, or his neural implants, to start the fusion core detonation.
That was fun.
One target remaining. Let's take care of the final pulse generator.
Yeah, take out any Banshees,
that
but
tunnel leads to the next section of canyon. The final pulse generator we need to destroy is through there.
there's nothing stopping you from flying through this tunnel. And again, I'm going to kind of skip this fight. I'm going to fly right over it. It'll look a little hairy for a second, but trust me, I got this. Now, the reason I'm firing is because, that actually, it startles the Flood, so they aim their rockets worse, because there's a bunch of rocket fuel in this tunnel, so I just skip past all of them. And don't worry, they're too busy with the Covenant to come after you. Sorry if that's a little cheesy. Yeah, please let me know if you'd like me to actually fight these things out, or if you actually prefer, or if you're fine with me skipping them, or if you actually prefer me skipping them. Don't worry, I'm about to fight a bunch of Flood right here. Sorry, I just heard a really weird noise outside my window. I guess the professional thing would be to pause the audio recording. Yeah, this part's kind of a breather, this initial part. Like, once again, all these combat forms don't have weapons. And there's just a bunch of infection forms. The second wave, though, is a bunch of Flood with assault rifles and also rocket launchers. You want to be ready. I'm just taking a minute to kind of get my bearings. Yeah. Once you cross like this point, yeah, they all spawn in. Yeah. Most of them aren't too threatening, but again, there is a guy with a rocket launcher. Yep, there's a rocket right there. You want to keep your distance. That's more of a suppressive grenade, just to keep him on his toes, so to speak. And at this point, I was pretty sure that I had, maybe accidentally killed the rocket field because he was nowhere to be seen. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about myself, but then I turned the corner and whoop! Guy with the rocket launcher. Ooh. That could have ended so badly. No idea why he didn't shoot me, but guess maybe he didn't want to blow himself up. Usually that's not a concern for the Flood. Sometimes they'll gleefully blow themselves up if it means killing you. But yeah. If you don't skip that firefight, you'll probably be running pretty low on health and ammo at this point, for sure. I think maybe that was the developer's intention, to make you feel just completely exhausted at this point as a player and for Dumb Master Chief. Although, I mentioned in the video description, the library is the only time Master Chief, in one of these levels, he's mentioned as being, at his physical and mental limit. The good music. Right there, that's the final pulse generator. I love that they let you see the mission objectives in the distance like that. So once again, you have more Covenant fighting more Flood, but there's a Banshee overhead that usually zeroes onto you. You can't see them right now, but to the right, there's a second squad of Flood. Usually, they'll see you before they see the Covenant, so you'll also have to deal with that. Oh yeah, by the way, you can actually glitch a Banshee through that. You can glitch the Banshee through that like broken down door. It's pretty easy to do. That felt like a step too far for me, though. But if you manage to do it, you can totally just fly up the pulse generator in the level. Although, funny thing, if you go up that ramp too fast and skip the final run chapter title pop in, it actually glitches out the level, so then you can't finish it. You have to start over. Kind of a funny thing. So you want to make sure you linger and make sure you do that. Has a pretty good stick, actually. Now, as you can see, there's a gold elite up here. There's actually there's supposed to be 2 gold elites on this part, but I think the Flood killed one of them, so it's stuck in the Well, an elite zealot. They both have plasma rifles. Once again, just scavenging. Don't worry too much about your health and ammo. But the reason to do that fight and not just run past it is because you totally can. It's just I prefer to do this fight because you get access to this gives you access to some ghosts for the rest of this final run segment. Now this final run segment is pretty infinite. It's very hard. I make it look a lot easier than it actually is. But once you have the ghost, the second part of it, so that you can mop up the Covenant pretty easily. After some time passes, the first wave of Flood comes in and they start fighting each other. I'm hanging back just to let them weaken themselves, but it might be a little hard to see, but in the upper left you can see the second wave of Flood gathering for an attack, and I'm not kidding here. That second wave is 4 Flood. They all have rocket launchers. That is not a joke. So once they show up, you want to kind of mop up. And then you want to hang back here. There's an ammo and health stash. You want to grab the pistol and then just shoot them from a distance. Don't even mess around with the rocket Flood. Now you might be wondering, why the pistol? Why not the sniper rifle? Well, for some very strange reason, and some of you might know this, the Flood have a weird damage resistance to the sniper rifle. It doesn't do like no damage, but it just it's severely ineffective on them. You wouldn't want to do that. All right, you wouldn't want to use a sniper rifle on them. Now, I go get the full health ghost from the first encampment and come back. Now, this final fight, this is probably the single. Like, assuming that you're doing it legitimately, this is probably the single toughest shootout in the entire game. By the way, little trick, if you can, like, move, if you hit the A button, you can move the ghost's front up, and that lets you get that ghost over the ledge there. So now you have a ghost. Yeah. So, despite the Flood music playing, the Covenant will always pretty much win this encounter. There's just an overwhelming amount of Covenant forces in this area, and yeah, trying to yellow it doesn't work. You need a strategy even to skip past it. So there's a group of Flood. A lot of them have rocket launchers, but on the Covenant side you have 2 squads of Covenant backed up by 2 Wraiths, 2 Hunters, 3 Stealth Elites, although you can't see them right now, obviously, and a plasma rifle zealot. It is just so much. It is ridiculous. If you're lucky, the Flood will take out one of the Wraiths for you. Oh, and also 2 shade turrets. In addition to all that, there's also 2 shade turrets. Yeah, it's just a ridiculous amount of Covenant forces. So what I'm doing, I'm just making sure the Flood with the rocket launchers aren't aggroed on me. You do want to take out at least one of the Wraiths because otherwise, like what happened last time, they'll just basically the goal here, I'm going to try and duck and weave past all these Covenant to grab the Banshee and fly out of here. Like, having 2 raids, you know, suddenly turning their attention towards you. When you're trying to board the Banshee, you'll usually die, so you want to take out at least 1 of the raids. Going back here was kind of a bad idea, because I didn't give myself very much room to maneuver. That was kind of a bad idea. What you'd want to do, you'd want to, like... I guess just be more careful is what I'd say. Oh, by the way, when you're not piloting the Ghost, it's actually completely invincible, so don't worry about it. I took out the Wraith. This was a mistake on my part. I was worried about the Grunt throwing a plasma rifle, so I took some time to kill him. That was a bad idea, but if you fly straight up, the Banshee has barely enough durability to fly on it. That's probably the cheesiest skip of the level. I feel a little bad, but there's no like fast, fun way to do that fight. You really just have to be meticulous and cautious. What I'd recommend if you actually want to fight it out, you would grab the Magnum and the sniper rifle first, kill as many elites as you can. Eventually, the 3 stealth elites will charge your position, so you hop in your Ghost, take them out pretty easy. They can't really do much to you in a Ghost. By the way, before you head to the final pulse generator, grab a plasma weapon, because there's going to be some more Sentinels. Yeah, do that, and then drive the Ghost back to the cache, grab your rocket launcher, take out the Wraiths, and then grab just like a plasma pistol around the battlefield and mop up. And also there's 2 hunters, so shoot them. Now, I kind of blocked myself with the Banshee. You want to run into the door. So after getting through that incredibly hard part, I choke on this really easy part. And I also choke again because I fuck up parking. That's the one downside to doing this. Your Banshee's on really low health, so you kind of have to get in and get out really, really fast. Anyway, the reason... Yeah, I almost make the same mistake again, but then I remember, yeah. Also, there's a health pack right there, so don't worry too much about your health. If I didn't lose health there, I would have just ran in, but I want to be at full health for the next shootout, so I'm willing to engage with this one just to get that health pack. Now, the reason I always recommend dropping the rocket launcher for a plasma weapon for Sentinels, obviously different enemies have different resistances and strengths to different weapons. Sentinels are probably the most skewed. Kinetic weaponry basically does nothing to them. They can even shrug off a direct hit from a rocket, I'm not kidding. Obviously they're kind of hard to hit with the rocket in the first place. However, they take like extreme amounts of damage from plasma. As you saw in that opening shootout, Overcharge just flat out kills them in one hit. So even a plasma rifle is pretty good on them, actually. Although obviously I'd use a pistol if I had one. But here, right at the end, we get introduced to another new enemy. Actually, these, yep, Sentinels with energy shields, also called Sentinel Majors. I shot that shotgun. Oh yeah, obviously the resistance to the shotgun. It's like the one enemy that the shotgun is a bad matchup against. But yeah, just a little more tanky than the usual Sentinel. But nothing too serious.
Final target neutralized. Let's get out of here.
Let's find a ride and get to the captain.
No, that'll take too long.
You have a better idea?
There's a teleportation grid that runs throughout Halo. That's how the monitor moves about so quickly. I learned how to tap into the grid when I was in the control center. Unfortunately, each jump requires a rather consequential expenditure of energy.
Something tells me I'm not gonna like this.
But I'm pretty sure I can pull it from your suit without permanently damaging your shields. Needless to say, I think we should only try this once.
Do it.
Alright. Join me next time for the level 9, Keys. Probably the worst level in the game, in my opinion, but they're still fun to be had. Now, for those of you who like bonus footage, here is footage of my game crash. As you can see, I'm really sad because the fucking sword elite flies off the edge like that. And I get that awesome stick. I guess there's nothing particularly interesting about a game crash. I guess I wanted to prove that it happened. And also, maybe somebody maybe somebody can point out, like, what causes this. Because I have no idea what happened. Like, all the enemies were dead. And then I think one revived behind me, and then that crashes the game for some reason. Really not sure what happened there. But, you know, I recorded the entire, well, I tried to record the level again out of love. You know, I didn't want to deprive people from Halo for too long. But I'll see you all next time.